There is no doubt that the ancient Egyptian civilization, attracting the world's attention, she is able to charm people's eyes. With its beauty and the accuracy of its execution by the hands of the ancient Egyptians, there is no new discovery or publication of anything. It is related to that ancient civilization, except that it causes a great stir around the world. Comments and reactions poured in. That did not stop for a moment. Recently, the famous billionaire Elon Musk, owner of Twitter, commented, founder of SpaceX and Tesla, on the ancient Egyptian civilization and his admiration for it, in a tweet on the short blogging site Twitter, where he expressed his admiration for a video clip of the Dendera Temple in Ghana, which sparked communication sites in Egypt and the world. As the matter has become one of the most discussed topics among the activists of the communication sites, as the comment of the owner of Twitter was widely popular, and thousands of people liked it. And the Egyptians considered it a celebration and admiration for the civilization of ancient Egypt. On Cleopatra Channel, we will explain all the secrets of Dendera Temple. Please subscribe and like the video. Dendera. Dendera dates back to the pre-dynastic era. In ancient Egypt, this is evidenced by ancient tombs. Close to the wall of the Temple of Hathor, where Dendera was the capital of the 6th region. One of the regions of Upper Egypt, where the Trinity was worshipped, Hathor, Hor-Bati, and Hor-I. The city of Dendera was mentioned in ancient Egyptian mythology. Given that it was the scene of one of the battles that took place between Hor, the god of Edfu, the husband of Hathor, goddess Dendera, and Set, the god of evil, who killed Hor's father, Osiris. The first origins of the temple. For the era of the 4th dynasty, where King Khufu was built, a temple in this place has been restored and events. Some additions to it during the reign of King Bibi, the first of the 6th dynasty. And to the south of the temple was found a cemetery. It includes tombs in the rock, some of the rulers of the province, those who were associated with the service of the goddess Hathor. Some of them held important titles, and interest in Dendera continued in the Middle Kingdom. It increased during the era of the New Kingdom, where Thutmose III, Thutmose IV, Ramses II, and Ramses III contributed to the maintenance of the temple. As for the current temple, it dates back to the Greek and Roman eras. Beginning with the reign of Ptolemy IX, Soter II, who ruled in 116 BC, and ended with the reign of the Roman Emperor Trajan in the year 117 AD, and includes the area along with the main temple, the wall, and the Temple of Divine Birth, whose construction began during the reign of King Nakhnephi from the 30th dynasty, as well as the Second Temple of Divine Birth, which was built during the reign of Augustus, and a facility that turned into a church and a sanatorium for recovery. And then there is the Temple of the Goddess Isis. The Sacred Lake, the Nilometer, and the Dendera Temple are considered a sign of architecture, a unique example in the arts and a comprehensive book of Egyptian religious thought. In this period, in addition to that, it is one of the best preserved Egyptian temples, according to a research published on the page Ancient Egypt. Kemet. The Black Earth. Dendera Temple Walls. The outer and inner walls of the temple contain hundreds of important scenes and texts that sheds light on religious beliefs, and the temple is distinguished as a great facility, as well as in terms of scenery and texts. For example, there are the wonderful Hathor crowns and scenes of the heavenly constellations that adorn its ceilings, and the myth of the union of Hathor with the sun disk, and the cabin of the goddess Nut, the sky goddess, which was not represented in any impact in Egypt. I also acted in this temple. Dendera Temple Stairs. We also find in the Temple of Dendera the cellar, the passages with holes below the level of the floor of the temple, which was dedicated to keeping the ritual tools of the goddess Hathor. Then the stairs leading to the roof of the temple, which spreads fear in the hearts of the ascendants, through the darkness pierced by a dim light from side portholes. And on the roof of the temple we see a shrine, Hathor union with the sun disk. Then the rooms that represented on its walls the story of the death and resurrection of Osiris. The zodiac ring, which is housed in the Louvre Museum. The temple is also distinguished by the fact that one of its outer walls includes a unique view in all of Egypt, which represents Queen Cleopatra VII. In front of her is her son Caesarion, and they worship the goddess. The temple gate was built by Emperor Domitian and the Emperor Trajan in the 1st century AD. It leads to an open courtyard through the Roman birthhouse and the Coptic church on the right side. The construction of the Hathor temple began in the 1st century BC. Work on it continued from 54 to 20 BC. It was built over the remains of previous temples, some of which may date back in antiquity to the Old Kingdom. Others were built by Thutmose III, Ramses II, and Ramses III. The name of Ptolemy XII has been found in the back of the temple buildings, the first part built in the Ptolemaic era, but a lot of cartouches. In the murals they are left blank. This is apparently due to the political instability of that period. Despite this, the work was intensified, and it took place during the reign of Queen Cleopatra VII, which ruled Egypt for nearly 21 years. The facade of the Dendera Temple is one of the masterpieces of the facades of the ancient Egyptian temples. It is 35 meters wide and 12.5 meters high. The facade is topped by 6 columns crowned with Hathor heads, in the form of musical instruments called centrams. It is separated by half walls resembling trailing curtains. It has a central entrance surmounted by a text of 3 lines. Books in Greek written by the Romans in the year 35 AD. It declares that the temple was for Emperor Tiberius, the new Caesar Augustus, son of the divine Augustus, under the jurisdiction of others. The ceiling of the hall bears 18 columns in the form of pebbles. The temple is in a good state of preservation for temples similar to that time period, and the manner in which it is lit. The hall rooms are almost exactly the same. That's the way the hall was lit in ancient times. There are some scenes on the left side. From the front wall depicts the emperor wearing the crown of Lower Egypt. He leaves the palace to complete the ceremony at the temple. He purifies the gods Horus and Chuti, and then crowns him with the gods. These scenes are integrated on the right wall, from the main hall where the king's rituals are performed. In building the Dendera Temple and dedicating it to Hathor, on the right side of the front wall is the emperor. Once again he wears the crown of Upper Egypt and is presented by the gods Montu and Atum to Hathor. There are many pictures of the royal family and lords on the pillars. Shows the king making offerings to the gods. This scene was vandalized. Temple at night. The temple is clearly distinguished by its small size and the distinctive roundness of human images in Ptolemaic art. The ceiling is decorated with astronomical scenes showing Nut, the goddess of the sky, and the signs of the zodiac. Behind the corridors there is a hall for small columns. 2 rows of 3 columns. It's called the Hall of Views. The hall is characterized by the use of granite stone column bases. It is unusual for its use in this regard, while its capitals are made of sandstone. Inscriptions and wall drawings depict the king in front of Hathor. As for the scenes that adorn the walls of the right side, from the hall it is read in the counterclockwise direction towards the entrance to the back door. It is similar to the one in the vestibule. They are scenes depicting the rituals of laying foundation deposits, the construction and dedication of the temple to Hathor, and the scenes on the left side of the hall. It is read clockwise. So he started from the entrance to imagine the king as he was presenting the temple to Hathor and Horus, either on the left side. From the back wall, it depicts the king's offerings to the gods Hathor and Horus, and their son, who uses sawsil in celebration. Capital. The column hall is surrounded by 6 rooms. From the presence of these rooms offerings, in the form of qualitative classifications, each according to its classification of food, incense, and liquid offerings, in each of which the king offers offerings to the goddess Hathor, silver decorations in a room on the right side, and liquid offerings of water in the second room. The temple is surrounded from the outside by a wall depicted with ancient Egyptian drawings and inscriptions. The back wall of the temple depicts Queen Cleopatra. She stands next to her son Caesarion in 2 scenes in front of the gods Hathor and other deities. Then we find in front of the temple of Hathor, where the birthhouse is located, or Al-Mamazi, which dates back to the Roman era. It was built during the reign of Emperor Augustus and its decorations were completed during the era of Trajan and Hadrian, and it was dedicated to the son of Hathor and Horus, and the sacred lake in the Dendera Temple. It is full of trees and was used in the cleansing and cleaning work of the priests in the temple.